They've traveled to heaven, he says. They're in God's hands now. A hammer can do little to breach multiple levels of concrete. When the bombs stopped falling, people in Gaza came out looking for people they lost.
Once the truce was in place, we ran to search for our loved ones, family members and friends. We found many of them, but with these resources we cannot pull them out.
Excruciating helplessness, said another man, as they see their relatives' bodies under the rubble, yet unable to do anything about it. Street after street, Israeli bombs have pummeled most of northern Gaza into debris. Even first responders were not spared.
I came here about an hour after my home was hit. We were pulling out women and children, assisting a team of civil defense, and all of a sudden we were targeted by the bombs and missiles.
People were able to come out because Israel and Hamas agreed to a prisoner swap in exchange for a 4-day ceasefire. Yet the scale of destruction hasn't been widely seen by international audiences. No journalists are allowed to freely enter Gaza, and even the language is dictated by Israeli officials.
I can't let that stand, because it's like they release children and we release children. I'm sorry, don't accept that. You can say women and minors.
And they did. Most major newspapers and TV outlets called them Israeli women and children and Palestinian women and minors. Only the Guardian newspaper issued a clarification later that the insensitivity was unintentional. Palestinians say the failure to see their children as children adds to their dehumanization. Malak was a teenager when she was arrested by Israeli forces. Her release comes as a young woman, aged 23. Mara was a 17-year-old high schooler. She spent 8 years in jail and now released at the age of 24. Amani, Rawan, Fatima, Muhammad, Mu'taz, Ahmed share similar stories. At least 88 women and more than 250 youngsters under 17 are in Israeli jails. Some were jailed for offences like throwing stones at Israeli settlers and illegally praying at Al-Aqsa Mosque. Isra used to look like this. 50% of her body was severely burned. As her family says, she was left to burn in the car. According to them, Isra's car was set ablaze when Israeli soldiers opened fire while she was driving. Untrue, says Israeli forces, who called her a terrorist and sentenced her to 11 years in jail, charged with trying to detonate her fuel tank near soldiers. Palestinians want the world to acknowledge they are also human beings as they try and recover the bodies of their loved ones so they can be given proper burials. They have to do it quickly because the 4-day ceasefire is already halfway through. Osama and Javaid, Jazeera.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.